In this passage, Jesus speaks words that pierce the heart of human pride and expectation. He paints the picture of a servant returning home after a long day of work, tending sheep, plowing fields, fulfilling duties, and then still continuing to serve his master by preparing his meal, not seeking thanks or reward. At first, this might sound harsh to our modern ears, accustomed to appreciation and acknowledgement for every effort we make. But Jesus is not belittling the dignity of the servant. Instead, he is inviting us into a deeper spiritual reality, the essence of humility and selfless service in God's kingdom. The message here is simple yet profound. When we serve God, we do not do it for applause, for favor, or for recognition. We serve because it is our calling, our joy, and our privilege to do what he asks of us. Jesus wants to free us from the trap of ego, from the need to be praised for every good deed. The servant in the parable does not expect his master to thank him, not because he feels worthless, but because he knows he is simply fulfilling his duty. Likewise, our Christian life is not a transaction between God and us. It is a relationship rooted in love, trust, and obedience. Every time we forgive someone who wronged us, every time we help someone in need, every time we pray silently in our room or sacrifice our time for others, these acts, unseen by the world, are seen by God. He may not send a human thank you our way, but his reward is deeper: peace of soul, spiritual maturity, and eternal joy. Jesus' words cut against the culture of entitlement that dominates our times. We live in an age that constantly asks, "What's in it for me?" But in the gospel, Jesus asks, "Are you willing to do what's right even when no one notices?" The servant's faithfulness becomes a mirror for our own spiritual lives. How often do we serve others expecting appreciation? How often do we grow bitter when our sacrifices are unnoticed? Jesus calls us instead to a love that expects nothing in return, a humility that finds its satisfaction simply in doing the will of the Father. In this, we imitate Christ himself, who came not to be served, but to serve. He washed the feet of his disciples, knowing that one would betray him, another deny him, and the rest abandon him. Yet he served them with perfect love. When we serve others selflessly, we reflect the face of Christ to the world. Moreover, this parable teaches us that our relationship with God should never be rooted in what we think he owes us. God does not owe us blessings or favors in exchange for good works. Everything we have, faith, breath, life itself, is already his gift. The more we realize this, the more we grow in gratitude and humility. True discipleship is not about counting what we've done for God, but recognizing all that he's done for us. The servant in the story doesn't complain, because his service is born of loyalty, not obligation. He understands that the master's household runs on trust and faithfulness. Likewise, we too are stewards in God's household, caretakers of his creation, his people, his love. Our role is to serve faithfully, not conditionally. When Jesus says, "So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, 'We are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty,' he is not diminishing us. He is teaching us the secret of spiritual freedom. When we stop seeking recognition, our hearts become light. We no longer serve out of fear or for applause, but out of genuine love. It is then that our service becomes pure worship. Each humble act, cooking a meal for the family, visiting the sick, forgiving an enemy, working honestly, praying quietly, becomes sacred. In God's eyes, these small acts of faithfulness are treasures far greater than any public achievement. This teaching also invites us to examine our motivations. Why do we follow Christ? Is it for blessings, success, comfort, or because we love him? God desires servants who serve out of love, not transaction. True faithfulness means trusting God even when there's no visible reward. It's easy to serve when things go well, but real discipleship shines when we persevere in humility during hard times. The faithful servant knows that his reward is not in the applause of men, but in the joy of knowing he did his master's will. As we reflect on this gospel today, let us ask for the grace to become true servants of God, faithful, humble, and grateful. Let us learn to find joy in serving quietly, to forgive without seeking credit, to give without expecting return, and to love without demanding recognition. For one day, When we stand before God, the greatest reward we could ever hear is not earthly praise, but His eternal words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That is the only thank you that matters. Until then, we walk each day in simple faith, doing what is right, trusting that even the smallest act done in love echoes forever in the heart of God.